Hello everybody and welcome. It is the 11th of the 1st, and if you're anything like me, I love numerology, so I'm really happy that we're doing this webinar on all the ones. And actually today I saw at 11 minutes past 1, so it was 11 minutes past 1 on the 11th of the 1st, and then the first page in my gratitude, my journaling that I do for the day, the page that was dedicated for today was 111. So feeling the vibes. Anyway, I'm going to keep this as short and sweet as I can. And it's just a really quick webinar on digital legacy. I am not a pro. I am not an expert at this. This is from experience I've learned through clients, through my own digging and deep dives into this. I'm very fascinated with the space. None of what I'm saying is legally binding or anything like that. It's just generally trying to give you, hang on 2 seconds. Sorry, apologies for that. A little bit of housekeeping that I need to just make sure I am staying on top of. So this is really just to give you a synopsis, an idea, just to start getting the hamster going, the wheels going, and just giving you a general idea, general gist of taking care of your digital legacy. There will be Q&A at the end, and this is recorded, as you can already know. And I will be sending a PDF out afterwards. If you've any questions, please feel free to ask me privately, and if I can't answer them, I will get a professional to answer them for you. As I said, this is just a free webinar where I'm trying to sort of give help where I can, and I feel like there's value, and we're at the start of the year and everyone's doing their cleaning, and so why wouldn't we do that on our digital space? So what is a digital legacy? Right. You guys should know this at this stage. Everything is online. Like everything is online. Years ago, we had letters up in the attic, we had photo albums, we had all these physical items. Now we just have everything is online. Our bank accounts are online. Most people do their online, like their banking through their online. Most people don't even go to like the store, the actual banks anymore. Mailing, your music is all online. You don't have CDs, if anybody remembers those. You don't have videotapes, VHS. Shout out to the 80s. Your money might be in stocks. It might be in Bitcoin, like cryptocurrency. You might have timeshares. A lot of people forget about that. You might have timeshares in I know for me, I'm like a Marriott vacation holder, owner, whatever it's called. And so that is worth money, that's valuable. You might have vouchers, right? It's hard to keep track sometimes of what you do and you don't have. But like, for example, Sephora, I often, because I have the Sephora credit card, I'll get like $10 vouchers, and they can build up. Now, I'm not to say that like upon my death, that's all people will care about is a $10 Sephora voucher. Just saying that this is all money that's there for the taking, and that these companies absorb back, and so if you can give whatever you can designated to your loved ones, why wouldn't you? So vouchers, timeshares, any sort of things that you've bought into that are like a subscription based thing that you then get something of value back. Your email. Even getting on this call, like I have 5 different Gmail addresses, and so I was figuring out, wait, which one did I put this one under that I'm the host? But it's your emails. You might have precious information in there. You might have business plans in there. You might have, if you have a Gmail, it's attached to your Google Drive. It's attached to photo albums. And like, I know for me, like a lot of my business plans and things are in all of those, and sort of my thoughts and dreams and wishes and all that for the future. But all of that is kind of valuable. Like if I pop my clogs tomorrow, and I'm hoping it's not tomorrow, I hope it's a little bit time left, somebody who knows and loves me might be able to take what I've already started with Muldowney Memorials and keep it going for generations to come. They might see the ideas that I have in my business plan, and they could, I don't know, turn themselves into a millionaire or whatever. It doesn't have to be sort of profitable things, it could be charitable things, but they could take an idea that was just a seed in somebody else's brain, and rather than it dying with me, they take it and it becomes something else. like half-written books. How many of us have like started books, started writing books, and they're just sitting there on our drives and stuff like that? Again, somebody might finish them. Like if we went back to like Whitney Houston, Elvis Presley, I mean, two of my faves that I'm always preaching about, but like since they passed, like they could have had half-written songs, half-written books, things like that, that are of immense value and are their estate. There's a part of them. So where does that go? Does that just go poop into nowhere land? So music, art, written books, also things that you've like digital assets that you've actually purchased. So like you might have purchased movies, you might have bought books, you might have a huge iTunes account, where you actually bought the songs. This is pre Apple Music. I'm one of those old school ones that I buy the actual songs. And you know, you might have these saved on your devices. You might have them in your iCloud storage, or sorry, your iCloud, your any cloud storage. You might have a blog. You might have a website that's of value to people. So like a lot of celebrities or people who have started just blogging and made themselves of value to people. People, maybe you haven't even announced that the person has passed away. People are wondering about these things, and so like if you've got all these fans, they're wanting to know like, well, where's all this intellectual property gone? Where's the information? So there's a lot of things, like you've got Netflix, Spotify, newspaper subscriptions. Then you've got your social media. You've got Facebook, X, which used to be Twitter, TikTok, might be banned right now, Instagram. You've got LinkedIn, you've got Google and all its apps. You've got Hotmail, Yahoo. You've got gaming accounts like your Xbox, your PlayStation, your Nintendo. You've got all the cloud storage. I know I'm a divil. I have Dropbox, I have Apple, I have Google, I think I have Verizon for a while. Like sometimes my stuff can be a bit all over the place, which is one of the things I'm trying to get a hold of in 2025. Accounts that hold money and currencies that are actually of financial value, like you might have gambling accounts, cryptocurrency wallets, shopping accounts. Your actual smartphone is an asset. And I'll come to that later, because we're going to actually go through some practical tips as to exactly what you can do, and just some small things you can do today. But like your utility bills, your mobile network, like all of those things, like when you pass away, somebody's going to need access to in some way, shape or form. Again, I want to reiterate, I am not a digital professional expert at any of this. This is just common knowledge that I have learned through working with clients, through trying to help my clients, and just knowledge that I've gleaned myself, because I'm an organized freak and I like to have everything organized. So I'm going to take a little sip of the coffee. Do you like my dairy milk, my Irish dairy milk mug? So why should you bother doing this? Why plan your digital legacy? You should do it for 3 reasons, honestly, and you guys should know me by now. I'm a big fan of pre-planning. But the importance is you've got legal considerations. So like, who owns your digital content? Who owns what? A will is super important. And I even fought against this for years. Even though I had my own funeral planned, I still hadn't got a will, because to me, I had nothing. I had no assets. And that was my thought on it. But we actually all do have assets in some way, shape or form. And so legal considerations, like who gets account access to these? Like there is massive problems with this space, and it's one of the reasons. So like, again, if anybody knows me, the 3 things I'm obsessed about are like funeral planning, pre-planning, like making it as personalized as possible while you're alive, the digital space, our digital legacies, and the environment. Now, if I had all the time in the world, I would have specialized in all 3. Absolutely. I don't. So I chose my planning, and like, so that's the celebrant, and the memorial planning is what I do and I'm an expert at. The digital space, I am just fascinated with, and I will talk about it. And I've been privileged to chair a digital legacy conference. I've been privileged to be asked to be on panels. I have done like certificates and diplomas and stuff in this arena, because I am really fascinated with it. It's just not something that it changes every 2 minutes. It changes at just a rate of knots that like, it's so hard to keep up with. You would have to be your full-time job. So unfortunately I'm not, but I will warn you that legally there's a lot of issues with this. And so it's super important to do what you can while you're alive, while you're living, and cover as much of it as you can in your will, so that is legally binding. A lot of these companies, like just recently, Twitter, formerly Twitter, like they went through like some sort of a court case. I think it was with the Onion or some sort of a newspaper. Anyway, they went through a court case where it was deemed that, oh no, you really just are asking for permission to post on Twitter. You actually don't own your account. So they own everything that comes out of your mouth, your fingers on typing, that goes onto Twitter. They own it. You don't actually have any ownership of it. So you do really need to check the terms and conditions. And that's where I will say, like, you can only do so much. A lot of these companies, and they're changing their terms and conditions. Like, I don't know about you, but I don't know how many times I have accepted a terms and conditions because I've just been in a hurry to, like, oh my god, this app updated, and I'm like, yes, accept all terms and conditions. And of course it's like ridiculously long, and in it I might have just given away that I don't own my content, like iTunes, I don't own any of the music or anything like that. So it is tricky. It's not going to be all black and white. I mean, I feel like nothing around life and death is black and white, other than maybe life and death. And I'm wearing black and white, so that's kind of cool. Anyway, I digress. We can only do so much. So, like, as I said, this is just a free webinar to give you some information, but it's not going to be the be all and end all. There probably still would be issues with who owns what. Unfortunately, that's just the way the digital space is moving so fast, and now we've got the introduction of AI. It's just impossible to keep up with. Like on the last panel discussion I was at, which was 6 months ago, I was supposed to say half a year ago, 6 months ago. Actually it was 7 because it was in June. There was a legal representative and a data engineer on the panel with me, and it was the European Chamber of Commerce. And we were just saying that, like, the law is never going to catch up. The law physically cannot keep up with the changes that are happening within AI and technology. It's just bonkers at the moment, and I don't know that it's ever going to slow down. And honestly, without the law be utilizing technology to speed itself up, I don't know where we're left. So anyway, but the other reasons to plan are your emotional value, honestly. Like, when you die, your loved ones are going to want to access your Instagram if you were somebody like me who uses it a lot and keeps all my, like, milestones in it. Like, our dog died in June, and then our my brother's and sister-in-law's dog died just there this before Christmas, and there was a photo I really wanted to find, and I couldn't find it anywhere, and I found it in, like, the bowels of my Instagram account. And it was such a special photo to me. It was the two dogs together, and obviously now they're in Rainbow Bridge or wherever they are together, and hopefully happy and healthy. But the point is that there's emotional attachment to all these photos, and because we don't put them in photo albums anymore, and I'm still the type of person, and I'm probably the last generation, I would imagine, who will have photos both in albums as well as online. I think everyone after this is probably all online. But it's just relaying those stories. It's your heritage. It's like passing it down. Even when I'm doing memorials, funerals for families, one of the most regretted things, when I'm always asked that, like, what, does anybody ever have any regrets? I'm like, yeah, if they don't choose to have the funeral videoed, recorded in some way, shape or form, that's usually the only regret. They never regret actually doing it, because it's something that they can look back at a year on the anniversary, 10 years, and just see all the wonderful stories that were told about their dad, their granddad, their daughter, whatever it might be. So it's something really, really precious, and that adds, like, that's something again that needs to go to the family tree, the family heritage, so that in 100 years they'll be able to know all about who Jen was and how amazing she was. And then also there's practical reasons, like the tips we gave in the post promoting this are just like digital clutter. Like, we have so much of it, it's actually ridiculous. And so, like, for me, one of the things I've been doing is cleaning up my contact list. I actually saw this tip online. It was my lawyer, and it was just deleting a letter a day. If you delete choose and pick a month. You don't even have to do it a day. If you say every Sunday I'm going to delete 3 letters, and you go A, B, and C this Sunday, tomorrow, and you go through those contacts and you're like, am I in touch with these people? Who are they? What is it? And put some little notes in, so that you have it in future reference. Because how many times have I gone looking for somebody's number and I can't find it? And so this just helps clean that up. Like unsubscribing. Anyway, we're going to get to that in a second. But digital decluttering. So you've got your practical reasons, you've got emotional reasons, you've got legal reasons. Those are kind of the 3 main things that I would have said. So getting started, because I want to keep us on time here. Let you all guys get back to your lovely weekend. Clean up your online presence. That would be the first thing I would be suggesting that you do, if you can do it today. So a couple of tips that we gave in the promotion of this post, but I'll just repeat them here, is Instagram. So for me, I have started noticing that there are just people I follow that I'm like, why do I follow you? And maybe it was it sounds awful to say, maybe it was a sympathy follow back in the day. Maybe it was because they were standing in front of me saying, follow me. And you're like, okay. And maybe their content's just not giving to me anymore. Maybe it's boring. Maybe it's like narcissistic. Maybe it's just not making me feel good. And that could be because their life is so amazing. Whatever it might be. And maybe it's making me miss home. Maybe it's making me cry over my dog, which happens an awful lot, actually. Thank you, Instagram. But whatever it is, if it's not making you feel good, you can unfollow, you can mute for a while, which is a great one if you don't want to unfollow somebody and you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. So that's Instagram. LinkedIn, I know at the start, I think with LinkedIn, everybody joined every which group, newsletter, company profile there was out there, especially if you were job hunting and stuff. And then if you're anything like me, like I went to college, did a degree in business, specialized in marketing, then went into merchandising, then moved to America, then came back, went into PR, event management, worked in graphic design for a while, worked in cosmetics then for a while. So I've been all over the trajectory. And so there's some people that like I follow that it's just not relevant to my career anymore. And even like I get a lot of I did for a good chunk of time, I think it was in 2023, I got a lot of random people just asking to hang out to add me, because they were looking to connect or whatever. And I'm all for connection, but I'm not all for just noise and irrelevant connections. So have a quick check-in, just on your groups and newsletters at least. I'm not saying to like go through your whole friend list or whatever like that, because you can, again, with the Instagram, you can kind of see who is on your feed and you can unfriend them or unfollow them that way. But it's really easy to do a quick check-in to see what groups you're a member of, what newsletters you're subscribed to, and company profiles. And you can do a quick unsubscribe or clean up wherever that's needed. Contacts, I already talked about that. Pick a letter a day or 3 or 4 letters a week and just go through them, make some notes, and make it kind of, I don't want to say a game, right? Let's be real. But like do it for like an hour every Sunday, set a timer, and maybe it's you and your partner and just like go, okay, who can get rid of the most, and maybe you reward yourself. I don't know, like you can gamify anything these days, for God's sake. But just that will help to clean it up. Passwords. This is a big one for me for 2025. Changing the password on every social media and or all your accounts, and ensuring that there's a 2-step authentication process or authentication verification on. That's become a new thing, this 2-step authentication. It did drive me nuts. Am I saying it right? Authentication. I feel like I'm saying Bell Airspace. Anyway, it did drive me nuts at the start. Now I see the value in it. Don't kind of have all your passwords be the same. I get it, it's not easy, but maybe pick a couple of them. You didn't hear this from me, and I don't think this is necessarily the most secure thing in the world, but like you could keep it in your notes, put it the passwords in the back of a notebook where only you know, and maybe somebody else or something like that. And that way, and just change them, like just every year, every 6 months, just change them. This just also helps you to sort of keep an eye and see what accounts you actually have. Like my MacBook has a list of it's got a password manager thing in it. And so it has a list of all my accounts, and I went through half of those accounts and I was like, I don't use them anymore. So I went in, like, deleted the accounts. There just needs to be less of us out there on the web. And listen, it's getting harder and harder and harder. The dark web is just wild, the stuff that's like popping up. Like I actually did and this is really terrifying, to do my vision board. This last week I was Googling images and stuff like that, and I Googled this famous actress who I just think is amazing, and I just love her style. I love, like, her figure is similar to what mine can be, this kind of vibe. And so I just wanted some photos of her to, like, put on my vision board to, like, inspire me. And I Googled her, and I'm not even joking you, the amount of AI images that came up. I was like, it was really disturbing. Like, she didn't look like herself in half of them, to the point that I was like, wait, is that her? And then that's when I copped on, and there were so many. It was wild. It was just absolutely just disturbing, honestly. And I mean, they're celebrities, but it can happen to any of us. Like, it really is disturbing. Anyway, I digress. Emails, similar to the Instagram vibes, if it's not giving and vibing with you in your life, unsubscribe, delete it, and just clean up your inbox. You can just do this one by one, like, as each email comes in, like, especially like first thing in the morning for me, I feel like there's always like 50 emails, and half of them are crap. So I've started unsubscribing. Okay, so the next main thing, once you've done a bit of a cleanup, that's a big job. So, once you've done a bit of a cleanup, the next major thing you want to do, and I will send a PDF which will help, you need to inventory your digital presence. So identify and list all your key online accounts and your assets. Not that hard, not brain science or whatever. It's just list and, what's in them, what's of value in them. This next one is a tough one. Like, you need to document and secure all your usernames and passwords and recovery options. There is manager apps that I'm giving you a list of. It's up to you to figure out which ones you like, which ones you trust, all of that sort of stuff. It's not easy. This is a tricky one, because I'm like, you should do it. People need access to your stuff, but it's also hard to sort of, like, trust. I mean, I even know myself, like, I don't have a partner, so my family are probably the closest people. I have friends I trust, but then I don't know about you, but, like, friends come and go as well. Like, for me, in the last couple of years, like, some really close friends have gone that I would have had as my, like, next of kin type of affair. So that can be tough. Now, you can, on most things, including your will and your funeral pre-plan and stuff like that, if you have nominated somebody, you can unnominate somebody, you can remove somebody. So it sounds cold and heartless, but, like, it's life. And also, if people are just not bringing love and kindness to your life, then what are we doing? So creating a digital will. So if you haven't done a will, do that first. But then a digital will is something you can do part and parcel. Now, you need to see experts about this. So you need a digital, you need a estate attorney, somebody who specializes in digital. You need to nominate a digital executor, which is your trusted individual who's going to manage all of what you're going to put in. And we need the outline of the assets, the inventory that you've already done. You need to give this needs to be included in your will. So a digital will should be a part of your regular will. And not everything you have, and depending on when you pass, not everything you have's ownership is going to be transferable, right? So whether it's purchasing, gifting, it's not all going to be transferable. We're trying to do our best here. As I said, we're trying to keep up with the times. But whatever you do have, it must be discoverable or stored. Like, you have to give details, and that's where, like, all the passwords and stuff are. Now, you could put your passwords in this digital will that is stored with your estate attorney. I mean, that's as legit and safe as it gets, supposedly. But what if you change your password and stuff like that? So you just need to consider these things and update it. There is a lot of amazing companies. Again, I'm also going to list a load of resources of these estate planning apps and websites and companies that are coming up and doing this. I do have my own thoughts on this. It's a tricky space, and it's hard. Startups already are up against it. And if half of these companies, like, I've been in this business 16 years, half of these companies have come and gone already while I've been in this business. So it is hard to know who to put your trust into, who's going to be around in 20 years time, because startups, the first 3 years, you know, you could decide on your company and put all your assets in, you know, your digital will into it, and then it's gone within 3 years. It is a tricky one. So that's, you've kind of got to make your own call on. I can't give you a solid black and white answer, unfortunately. A standalone digital will is not always legally binding. Again, this depends on the country, the jurisdiction you're in, the state, all of this. But technically, if it's the same, meets the same requirements like the signing and witnessing as your will, then typically it's approved. So that's my point, is whenever you're doing your will, add this in. This should be part and parcel. And your digital executor is somebody that you appoint to carry on your wishes upon your demise. Again, I'm not going to go into like the laws and stuff like that, but just be very careful who you're picking as your digital executor. And in some jurisdictions, it's not legally binding, it's not legally recognized unless it's specifically included in your formal legally binding will. So really and truly, digital will and your regular will need to go hand in hand. And you need to seek yourself an estate attorney. A really good estate attorney that includes digital assets in their services. Most of them should, or they should have somebody either under them or that they partner with to make this happen. You can consult a legally planning special or legacy planning specialist. I'm not personally one. I'm happy to sort of give general advice. Like I can absolutely help, but I would be suggesting we collaborate with an attorney and a financial advisor. There's digital legacy experts out there. As I said, I chaired the Digital Legacy Association. They're based in the UK, but they kind of partner with a college here in the US. And so, you know, they are good, I have to say, and they seem to be on top of it. It's like their full-time job, which I love. And definitely like a funeral memorial planner like ourselves, we can help incorporate digital legacy into the broader memorial planning. So depending on what you've specified you want happening, we can incorporate that into whatever we do. And a financial planner obviously is super helpful to have as well. Those are just some consultants that I would recommend you have in terms of like getting your affairs in order. So here's a few examples of what we can do right now. I'm gonna take some water because this is, it's probably the dehydration of the coffee. Need to drink more water. Okay, everyone get out your phone. Now I'm gonna do the Apple. Sorry, sorry to all you Samsungers and whoever else. So take out your phone. You are allowed to designate up to 5 legacy contacts. Now, these individuals, so I have nominated my mom and a friend. These individuals can access your iCloud data and your personal information. So they can access, she can inherit my data and use my Apple devices after I've passed away. There is a key access code that, because one of my friends is not an iPhone device holder, but my mum is, so that's part of the reason why I did both, just to see who gets what. So there is a key, like a certificate that I got given with a QR code on it that will give them access. So because my mum is an iPhone, she's automatic, that's done in the cloud if you like, but the other one is, it's a specific key that they're given. So actually, if you go into, I would highly recommend, if you go into your iPhone and check out, there's a setup checklist. I don't know if you can see that. Setup checklist of everything you should go through. Honestly, you should try and do all of these things. So you'll see the legacy contact is here down the bottom. So if you go into this, you will actually, it shows you what you haven't done yet. So I had done pretty much, I obviously have done everything here, but like setting up Face ID, your Apple ID, your iCloud is backed up, find my iPhone's turned on, your recovery contact is another good one, medical ID, obviously a great one, and then lastly, your legacy contact. So how you get into it is you do need the iOS, the like 15 beyond, and I think on the Mac it's 12 or something. But anyway, you go into settings. Okay, so you go into your settings, you go into your name, you click into your name at the top, and you go down to password or sign in and security, it's called on mine here. Let's go into sign in and security, and you'll see all the way down the bottom, there's legacy contact. So you go into legacy contact, and that's where you add whoever you want. Now, you can also see who you have been nominated as a legacy for. Now, you do have to accept this. So, for example, in this, my mom has, I'm her legacy contact. And if I go into her thing, I can see view access key and request access. So when, and I hope it's not for another freaking 20 years at least, I can, when my mum passes away, I can request access to her phone. Super, super helpful. You get photos, messages, notes, more. You don't get licensed media or any payment information, so it's not like you can kind of go to town on that or anything. You do need a death certificate to request the data. So you get your access key, but you do need to provide a death certificate. And I will say, make that crystal clear, you nearly need a death certificate for everything that we talk about today. Every single thing. Okay, I just want to keep an eye on time. All right, we have another few minutes. Okay, so that is your Apple. Your iPhone. The next one is your legacy contact on Facebook. So Facebook, this is the interesting one. Facebook, hang on. Sorry. Okay, sorry. A little bit of housekeeping. Sorry. So your Facebook legacy contact. Yeah, this is the interesting thing, because Meta owns Instagram and Facebook. Facebook allows a legacy contact, Instagram does not. Make it make sense. I mean, don't even get me started. I've had such issues with Meta this week. Can you actually believe that you cannot, if you've customer support, like you cannot speak to a human being? I literally can't get my problem answered. So I've lost access to one of my pages, and I can't seem to get an answer to how I resolve it. I think I've somehow deleted I don't know what I did. But I can't get access to anybody. I can't even get access to speak to like a chatbot, like a person at the other end where I can just be like, never mind, speak to somebody. So I just can't get access, no customer support to a human being. It's ridiculous. Anyway, in your Facebook, so the amazing thing about it is that if you're nominated as somebody's legacy contact, so for example, if my friend passes away and I'm her legacy contact, I can write pinned posts, I can update profile pictures, and I can respond to friend requests. I have the option to delete the account permanently if that's what my friend wanted and dictated in her digital will. I can also memorialize the account. So it's kind of, do you want to delete or do you want to memorialize? And if I memorialize, I can, it'll say remembering Jennifer Muldowney, and it's a space where everyone can kind of come and share memories. To do it, and it'll have the information in the PDF, but you go to settings and privacy, and back into settings, you click on memorialization settings, and that's when you enter the friend's name. So the person has to be a friend on Facebook. So they have to have a Facebook account, and they have to already be your friend for you to be able to choose them as your legacy contract. And then they get a notification and yada, yada, yada. Now, a memorialized Instagram. So you can't add a legacy contact to Instagram, but you can memorialize it. So the account will become inactive, and no one can log in. The photos and the videos will stay there. It won't appear in public places like Explore, like it's not going to pop up, and suggestions. No one can change any of the settings or anything. And again, similar to Facebook, it'll have Jennifer Muldowney remembering. But yeah, that's proof of a death certificate and submitting it to Instagram, which, do they have a human being at the end of that? I really hope that they do. I've never had to report somebody's death to Instagram myself personally, thank God. So I don't know. I'm assuming that they have actual human beings that will actually process that information as opposed to what I've had to deal with. The next one that I want to talk about is that, again, is a really easy one for you to do today, is Google's inactive account manager. This is a great one. I've had this for donkey's years. There's a timeout period. So if you haven't been active on your account, anytime between like 3 and I think it's 18 months or something like that, Google will send you a notification contacting you saying, are you okay, or like whatever, I can't remember what the email says. And then if they don't hear from you, like it's step-by-step process, and then they will notify the person who you've trusted with this inactive account manager, and they will receive your data. You do have an option to have your account deleted after the inactivity period as well, so that nobody gets your data. The easiest way to do it is you sign into your Google account. Data and privacy, not the other ones were like security and privacy. This is data and privacy, and you just go all the way down to the bottom of the page, and it's make a plan for your digital legacy. Just click start and follow the prompts. That's it. So yeah, the main thing that I would honestly say is, and I'm going to give a list of resources, is in your password managers. You can have a look at those. You can have a look at the different companies that are doing various different digital estate, legacy planning. But the main thing is declutter. Just like the things you can do today is declutter your online presence. And if you even just do that, if you have an iPhone and you do that legacy contact, and you have Facebook and Instagram, well, never mind the Instagram, and you have Facebook and you have Google, if you do those 3 things, that's still a huge help. I know it depends, I guess, on what you're using. I know those are the things that I use the most, so I feel like they'll be of the most value to people who can have access to my photos, my documents, my brain after I'm gone. I mean, there are crazy things that are being developed now. Do you want to be sort of reanimated? That's a whole other webinar. I can't even go into that. Like, AI is just crazy. You know, do you want your voice to be reanimated? Do you want, like you might have seen already on TikTok, if anybody's on TikTok, like Morgan Freeman and Leonardo DiCaprio, and I think Anthony Hopkins, like all their voices have been replicated using AI and like saying things that they never said. So it's getting this, the world is getting a bit scary. So whatever we can control, let's try and do it. And so I would suggest that if you can even just do those 3 points, that you're ahead of the game. Those 3 points and cleaning up, decluttering. Let's do that as well. So 4 things. So you've got, your iPhone, or I'm sure you can probably look up a Samsung. I'm sure Samsung probably have something similar. I should probably have done a bit of research on that. Sorry. But yeah, and your Facebook and the Google inactive. Those are really, really important ones, I think. So yeah, so that's it. I hope you enjoyed this little webinar. We did 2 great ones on vision board and before I die. Vision boarding and bucket listing and stuff for the new year. So this was just our digital legacy one, helping you to clean up. I'm going to share the downloadable PDF digital legacy starter kit, and you can have a look at that. And you can, any questions you have, we've kind of run out of time a little bit, but I will definitely open up for Q&A. We'll just stop the recording so that we can all have a chit chat. And yeah, I hope just whatever you do, keep your content secure. It is sensitive information. Don't be sharing your passwords willy-nilly. That's not what we're talking about here. And just remember, obviously I'm only an Irish girl who's living in America. There are international differences in all of these inheritance laws, so consult with a local lawyer in your jurisdiction is also what I would say. Really, really important. And yeah, so happy digital decluttering and happy 2025. So yeah, let's open for questions.